Welcome into our overtime segment here on the Sports Source, sportsource.tv. You can watch us every Sunday at 11 a.m. on WATE6 or catch us here each week on sportsource.tv. Guys, Jimmy Hyams, Bob Hodge, Don DeVoe, Chuck Cavaleris. I want to talk about what is the one important thing Donnie Tyndall has to do to succeed long-term at Tennessee. Tennessee has had this is the seventh man hired since Don DeVoe's last year in 1989. Wade Houston lost and was fired. Kevin O'Neill went crazy and left. Jerry Green won, but he was run off because he was a bad fit. Buzz Peterson, nice guy, but he was a 500 coach, fired. Bruce Pearl blew himself up. Conzo Martin won, but he was run off because he was a bad fit. What's the number one element that Donnie Tyndall must take advantage of to succeed long term?
John, I think it all goes back to recruiting. He has to be able to show he can recruit at the SEC level, and he hasn't done that yet. We have seen some, he 0-star players he recruited. Unless you're the best coach in the world, you're not going to win in the SEC with 0-star players. So I think he has got to recruit at that level, and even though he had great rebounding teams, he didn't have anybody taller than 6'6". So can he also get the post players you need?
Well, I'm going to agree with Chuck on the recruiting, and I think he needs to do well in the state. He needs to hit Memphis and Clarksville and Chattanooga, wherever somebody else could play. You need to hit into Georgia, obviously. But a part of that, too, is that you need to be true to what your system is. And I think that Bruce Pearl, he won initially with Lofton, who was Arkansas State, and Valparaiso wanted him, right?
Yeah.
He won with Juwan Smith, who was a walk-on. He won with Dane Bradshaw, who couldn't play point guard in the SEC but could play power forward, so he moved. Then he went out and started recruiting some of these 4- and 5-star players that didn't fit his system.
That's right.
I think Tyndall needs to make sure he recruits to his system as well as getting good players, but I think Bruce got away from that a little bit, and I think that was reflected his last couple of years.
I think the door's opened for bigger stars, and it's hard for a guy to say, yeah, he's a bigger star, but he doesn't fit my system. I think that's a great point, Jimmy. Your thoughts?
I think it's a little bit different than that, and I think people have used the word, you brought it up a while ago, showman. Tennessee's basketball coach has to be more than just a recruiter. He has to be more than just a winner. He has to make a connection with the community. I don't really think you can put a word to it. Showman may be a little bit too silly.
That's the word that keeps getting put to it, though. Yeah.
But you've got to do things besides just recruit well and win. And I think Conzo Martin's a pretty good example of that. Now, people can argue about how good or bad his recruiting was, but I mean, he did win over 60 games while he was here, and nobody was sad to see him leave, or very few people were. So there's just something out there that you really can't put a word to that a UT basketball coach has to be able to do.
I know where you're going.
Charisma.
You have to have
More than charisma.
More than charisma.
More than salesmanship.
Don, your thoughts on, is it recruiting? Is it just win? Is it this connection with the fan base? What's number one on your list?
I think all three guys have really made valid points. I think when you come to the University of Tennessee, you need to be a real person. When I say a real person, you need to be someone who, enjoys going out and visiting with all the various clubs, not only here in Knoxville, but you need to go with the UT Alumni Association to all areas of the state and outside the state, because I know I would always commit to a full week and a half in the spring to go wherever the Alumni Association wanted me to go. I think you need to go out there, and meet the people, and obviously, you have to recruit well, and you have to have a great understanding of how to handle issues when they come up. You're going to have all kinds of issues. This basketball coach is going to lose to a Mercer someplace along the way. They're going to lose to a Georgia State. The fans have to understand, your coach is not perfect. He's going to have some down times, and you got to be able to hang in there with him, and you just can't go off the handle like some of the people did this year with really a great coach and a great man, in my opinion, in Conzo Martin. You just cannot go berserk, because what that does, that really hurts Donnie Tyndall now on a national basis, because he has to go outside the state of Tennessee, and recruit kids. And I'm telling you, the image of the University of Tennessee outside the state now for recruiting basketball is not very good. I'll say that. So I think that, you have to be a real person when you come to the University of Tennessee and really enjoy all the people here, because you have so many great people. You have such a diverse university, and you have so much going for you. But our fans happen to think because you have a great, big, beautiful arena that everybody in the world wants to come here. But let me tell you, there are 13 reasons why you will not have success at the University of Tennessee, and that is that all these other state universities in the Southeastern Conference recruit great quality kids as well. So you have to really do all the things our three panelists have said.
Well, I think Tennessee obviously can be a great job.
Yes.
It wasn't a great job this time around for all the reasons that people are aware of. I think that made it a tougher sales pitch for Dave Hart. Very quickly, 1 minute, when you look at most coaching changes, there's always a tendency to, if this guy's all offense, we're going to get a guy who's all defense. If this guy is not known for his bubbly personality, we're going to get a guy with a personality. Is there danger at all in Donnie Tyndall? I think it'd actually be wise to kind of look and learn from the Cuonzo Martin situation. And I think I would rather err on the side of overdoing it right now than underdoing it if I were Donnie Tyndall.
Yeah, and I think just from listening to him, a lot of people have already came out and said, "Oh, he's just like Bruce Pearl." Don't know where that's coming from. Wait and see. But yes, if I was him, I would be out, kissing babies and shaking hands.
Or kissing hands and shaking babies. All right. Thanks to these guys. Thanks to you. We'll see you next Sunday at 11 on WATE 6 and right back here on SportsSource.tv.